are continuing our study of the Proverbs collected by Solomon, the ones attributed to him and the ones he archived and published that originated in others. We have in the book of Proverbs not just one resource or one on one topic, but a library of resources on numerous topics. Life is complicated. The more we know about everything, the easier it is for us to make the right decisions when faced with a particular challenge. From here on out in our study, we're not going to study the texts in their biblical order. Instead, we're going to look at a few subjects that are mentioned numerous times throughout the whole library. Some of the subjects we have already covered in previous studies. We're not going to skip. We're going to skip them. Instead, we're going to focus on just a handful of topics that appear numerous times in the collections we have yet to investigate. The first topic is the house, the Hebrew word beit, which sometimes means a literal house, but often it implies a household or a family. The title of today's study suggests that the wise sayings about this subject lead people to make wise decisions that strengthen and enlarge their houses, households, and families. Adversely, the fools do things and say things and seek things that are not only self-destructive, but also tear down their houses, households, and families. What we want to investigate is how we as believers in Christ can live in such a way that we're more likely to have strong families and less likely to have families that self-destruct. 3:33. The Lord's curse is on the household of the wicked, but he blesses the home of the righteous. Obedience to God in general has the common effect of making life at home better. Selfishness, violence, and wickedness in general has the opposite effect. God is actively involved in this. He does not just leave it to chance. He is cursing some families and blessing others. He does this because of choices made by the parents and family members. It's important to clarify here that just because a family has problems, it doesn't mean the house or household is cursed. Likewise, if a family appears to be prosperous and well off, it doesn't mean they are being blessed. The proverb does not prove either of these assumptions. It merely states that God is active in seeing to the wicked experiencing the consequences of their sins and seeing that the faithful are rewarded in this life. 12:7. The wicked are overthrown and perish, but the righteous household will stand. One of the marks of a godly household is its ability to withstand diversity and stay standing when calamities and trials tear apart wicked individuals and wicked families. Here, two meanings of the word beit are implied at the same time. The image of a strong house that stands under pressure and time is overlaid with the image of a family that does the same thing. Some buildings look strong and reliable until the storm comes. Then the building we thought was strong is shown to be weak and unreliable. Some shacks that we think will blow down by a tiny bit of huffing and puffing will surprise us too. Real integrity cannot always be seen, but God sees it. Every wise woman, chapter 14, verse 1, builds her household, but a foolish woman tears it down with her own hands. And here we see the Bible is an equal opportunity book. Here it is not the man who is building the house, but the woman. She has the power of construction and the power of demolition. That power is in her hands. She must do things wisely and say things that are wise, or her house/household will be torn down. In this verse, wisdom shows that building a family is not the lone responsibility of the patriarch. The dominion over the earth that was shared by both Adam and Eve, it's here as well. Dominion over the family is also shared in the godly couple. Neither is given the luxury of letting their spouse do all the building. Chapter 14, verse 11. The household of the wicked will be destroyed, but the tent of the upright will flourish. I like this verse because it speaks to the reality we often experience. It seems like there are many wicked people enjoying great blessing, while the righteous are stuck living in the lower class. The wicked have houses, while the righteous live in tents. What this verse tells us to do is to take the longer view. We might presently live in a tent, but we're going to flourish, while those who live in stately mansions might just be on the way to destruction. If we saw things from that long-term perspective, we would not be envious of those big houses we see. 15 and 27. The one who is greedy for gain troubles his household, but whoever hates bribes will live. A household can be troubled by the unwise actions and temperaments of its inhabitants. The greedy are not just running or ruining their own lives, but they're contributing to the instability of everyone who lives among them. They're greedy, so they want it now. If someone is in authority, stands in their way, they'll just try to soften him up with a bribe. Wise people hate bribes. They know that a bribe is not a shortcut to wealth. It's a shortcut to death. Integrity in all things keeps a person alive and helps him or her thrive. Chapter 27, verses 23 to 27. Pay careful attention to the condition of your flocks. Give careful attention to your herds, for riches do not last forever, nor does a crown last from generation to generation. When the hay is removed and new grass appears, and the grass from the hills is gathered in, the lambs will be for your clothing, and the goats will be for the price of the field. And there will be enough goat's milk for your food, for the food of your household, and for the sustenance of your servant girls. Wisdom sees the connection between a person's house and that person's work. In an agrarian society, the work was invested in the livestock. It made sense to pay attention to the livestock because they were a long-term investment. Time has a way of eliminating the funds that are available right now. Investments and diligent work are ways to replenish present wealth. Two things are described as temporary here: riches and a crown. Hard work is something we do not necessarily because we need the money in the bank today. We do it to make sure there's money in the bank tomorrow and next year. The text also speaks of managing present resources so that they last. If your livestock need something, that is a priority for you because they are your insurance policy. 31, verses 15, 21, and 27. She also gets up while it is still night and provides food for her household and a portion to her female servants. She is not afraid of the snow for her household, for all of her household are clothed with scarlet. She watches over the ways of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness. The kind of woman that Lemuel's mother is describing is not a beautiful princess with unblemished fingernails. She's a hard worker who takes responsibility for providing the things her family needs. She sees to it that her employees are provided for as well. She ensures that everyone under her authority, that's her family and her employees, are protected from harm. She's a household manager, not just a cook and a maid. She does not defer the important household management decisions to her husband. She takes an active role in managing her home. Her husband is grateful because he cannot be everywhere and do everything. He wants a partner, not a doll to showcase in the window. He wants a strong family, and he's grateful to know that she wants the same thing. Next time, we're going to learn what the beasts can tell us about living wisely. Lessons from the animals, again using various of the proverbs. We will listen to the oxen, the bears, the horses and the dogs, the livestock, ants and lions, leeches and snakes. These animals and others can teach us what we might not learn in a school of human beings. See you then.